here. So the formatting that is here is just enough. We go for a question here. I was talking about the head and footer and the heading itself. This is the heading or the title. When we came to this, to split this, you realize there is a header. A header is something that is going to apply and appear on every page that we shall have. In case we come down here and we want to add a new page, the header is going to appear and apply on all pages. So we are told to freeze the pens so that the emp name and percentages row are kept constant while scrolling. What is freezing? Freezing, you hold, you see when we scroll up like this, the rows are going to hide. When we scroll this side, the names will hide. So what shall we do? Freezing is found in this tab of view. So what we do, we are told that the name and the rows. Select a cell here that will make an angle to the two, this is the column and this is the row, the two row and the column. That is cell in the middle there. Come to view, then freeze pens is here. When you say, let me first sample with freeze top row, you see that only that score title will be kept around. First, then freeze this column here. When we freeze and hold that, it will keep around. Then, but for us, we are told to freeze only the column and the row, this column here and this row here. Now, come here to freeze and select freeze pen. You realize there are some two lines that are drawn for us. In case you want to scroll down and you want to work on the other employees, the headings are kept constant. In case we come this way and there is too much data on the right, the headings are also kept constant. So that is freezing the pens. Use appropriate cell references to calculate the allowances as percentages, calculate the gross income, calculate the deductions as percentages of the gross income. While calculating this, we are going to use the formula. But in calculating the spreadsheets here, you're going to realize that we have a cell here which is having 5%, and it must multiply through all these other cells. So what would be the correct formula? The formula would be equals that cell 5% times this cell, which is the 320,000 shillings. I always encourage candidates, please avoid using cell values, but use cell addresses. Now, for example, if we autofill from there, we are getting this error to imply that the space is not being enough. You see what we have now. The challenge there, I may not ask one to identify. I know some people know, others we don't know. But the challenge is, this one now is multiplying this by this. Another one here is multiplying this by this. So as we autofill, all the cells go on autofilling. What we have to do, we have to make this cell here what we call absolute. We make it absolute such that it will be the one to continuously multiply through these cells. How do you make it absolute? By giving it dollar signs. You click in the middle of it, you go to your keyboard, press F4. Just a matter of pressing F4 in this cell. It should put for us dollar signs. Or else, you yourself, you may say Shift 4, D, Shift 4, 4. And we shall enter again. Then, when you autofill, you realize that you are getting now correct values. When we autofill and we check for this formula, this is what we are having there. So we are told to calculate for all these other values as this one. Times the basic income. Times the 6% now. And we shall autofill. Then the medical, still we shall have the 7% times the basic income, and we have to this one, we shall fix it into absolute, then autofill. That one is done so far. And we are told to get a formula, appropriate formula to calculate all functions to calculate the gross income. Now this question has been open. You can either use a formula or a function. It is not very specific on what you have to do. We can either say equals no. We did some error here. I think we just have to autofill moving up like this. We may say equals this cell here plus this plus this plus this one. That is a formula because we are adding our cells one by one. And finally, we shall end. Another one would wish to use a function called sum, open a bracket, select all these values. All of them will give us correct answers. So either way that you do, you double click to autofill and everything will come out for you. Now we are told here again to use cell references to calculate deductions as percentages of the gross income. Here, this tax 18% is a percentage of this. You realize that many of these things are relating to the others. So what shall we do? We shall still use the same way like we did here by saying equals that cell of 18%. We'll give it $signs times this gross income, and we shall end. Then we do the autofilling. Now you realize we are having these errors here. They are implying to us that the space of the column is not enough. So what you do, come here in this and try to increase the size of the cell. So we shall come here again and say equals 5%. We give it $signs times the gross income, and we shall end. Then after, we shall do the same thing. Now, in a payroll system, employees always have what they call a basic pay, a basic income, which is this one. Then they normally get allowances which are added to their pay. The allowances that are added to their pay eventually will add the allowances plus their basic. Some companies will give allowances in terms of percentages, others will give allowances in terms of solid figures. So when you are adding the gross income, you're supposed to have all those items added together. Now, before they pay you, there are some things that the company must deduct from your money before paying you. Others will come and ask for advance. My child is sick, please give me some little money. I lost a colleague, I have to pay some condolence, anything. So you go and get some advance. Others, there are some simple taxes that we have to pay. So now these are all deductions. Here we are asked to calculate the total deductions. So how shall we calculate the total deductions? The deductions here, we shall get by saying, by putting this one here equals, we can either use a formula or a function. By saying that one, plus the advance, this one is empty, but you never know the guy before the end of the payroll, the guy may come there for some little money. So we shall put that formula there, and we shall autofill. Now, just a sample, when we put his money here, when the formula is already there, for example, he came and asked for some 50,000. You realize that the moment you put his money, the formula is going to change the value that we have there. But that money was not there. We don't want to cheat the young man. Not the young man, the young lady. Whether young or old, we also don't know. You continuously save. This is one thing. When power goes off, please continuously save. One thing I didn't do is changing the name of my file. So you realize up here, this is one of the wrong things that I am doing also. Please don't always work in the original file. This is the original file. It may be hard for you to take it to the original. Now we are told to use an appropriate formula to determine the net income for the employees. Employees here are supposed to, this is now what exactly is their take home. The take home will be this gross here less the total deductions. You are supposed to get all these ones, this money here, but we are reducing by these ones. So we shall say this one minus the total deductions. I want to remind you that whenever you have to make a calculation in a spreadsheet, the very first thing that we put in a cell is equal signs. So it's indicating to us that this is what each of these employees is going to earn. Use appropriate formula to calculate the total deductions. I think that one we have done. So we are coming to this one, format the cell values to UGX currency. You realize this UGX here is small. Sometimes we need to pay attention to detail. So we are told all these values here. So what do I have to come here, select all your values up to here. We now come home. We want to format these numbers as a, okay, she has gone. We want to format this. I'll come here and select this. We want to take it to currency. The currency, we are told it should be UGX. So I'll just tap UGX. And say, okay. Now you see the cells are expanding seriously. So you expand also to make sure that it is accommodated. But as I mentioned it earlier, you realize that this one is required to be a small gx. You never know, the examiner may be very specific on that I wanted a small gx. So what you do after doing this, come back here. After setting this currency, come and customize here. You, in this cluster for number, this part here, you click that dot, come to currency, custom, and select custom. Then inside here, you're going to see these customized figures here. Please, our interest is in only and only this GX. So click there. And we change that capital G to small gx. Don't worry, this is going to affect all the other files. Boom. And it will work. Everything will turn to a small x. We expand this to see all our values. Then Determine the amount of money the company spends on allowances and the deductions. We are asked to get the total, then the total amount the money has to pay at the end of the month, and after the net pay, label the contract, label the contract status. Then let's get the totals here. We are simply asked to get the total for the allowances here. How shall we get the total? It is very simple. We shall just put a sum there equals sum, select this. And we are okay. Now, to avoid doing the same thing again, we shall now autofill going in this direction because we want to get all these, the same things here. Just come here instead of retyping your formula. Just come and autofill this. These values now should be having, let us first test. Yeah, this one is showing us from E5 to E24. You may be smarter and put totals here, such that we have the totals. We are told also to get the total deductions for let's do it this way. The tax and the payee, this one is not called for, so I will delete myself. I'm trying to buy time of avoiding to retype them. I think even the net income, we are asked to calculate the net income, so we shall say equals sum, open, and we shall get from L5 to the last one. So that one is also done. We have calculated the totals. Then using relevant, add a new column after the net pay and call it status. Put full status for the employee if the gross income is 550 or more. Probation employee if the gross is between 450 and 550. If the gross income is between 350 and 450. If the pension is below 350. I think it was supposed to be the income. This was supposed to be gross income because that's what we are working with. Now, there are around actually three functions that we can use. So we are told to call this one status. We can use either if function, we can use VLOOKUP function, we can use HLOOKUP. The examiner has left us with a choice of choosing which of these three can we use. I am going to use if for now, just in case we need to see how we can use the lookup as well, the lookups as well. We shall see. We shall say equals V equals if we are told to use the gross income. If this one is greater than 550,000, what are we supposed to say? We are supposed to say if it is greater than 550 or more, full contract. 450 is probation employee, and then trial employee at 350. Okay, 550, we put quotes here and say full contract, or close quotes. We do a comma and say if again. This is cell G5 is greater than 450,000, open quotes, and say probation. I can recall it was probation, employee, then try employee, probation employee, close the quotes. We are to put another if again. If that cell give 5 again is greater than 350, I think this employee was on trial. We put his quotes, his comment in quotes, trial, employee. This was supposed to be 350,000. Trial employee. Now we are left with only one other condition, that whoever is less than that, we shall just put these quotes, and then we say this one is on pension. So what is with Excel? What is Excel and if? This is a nested if. We shall count the number of brackets we have opened, so they should be the number of brackets that we close. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So we shall close 1, 2, 3, and end. So we shall realize that this one is a trial employee because his gross income is less than 300 and is it less than 300? Yes, it is less than 300, 450. Yes. So that one is also done. Just in case one may need to see how to use the other functions we are trying to run after time. Ensure all your work has all borders using let's draw a column graph here using the name and the gross pay only. We shall select all our data here. We are asked to put borders around all our work. I think including the status. Come here in borders and apply all borders. So this is what is required of us. We are asked to create a new sheet and we rename it as chart, such that we put our graph here with the names. We put names and the gross income. So we shall hold the control such that we select the gross income. There is a common error that the candidates do. For example, I will select that cell. I have clicked there and I am selecting the names. Then come here, what they do, they will hold control, click this cell first, then come and click the cell again. So I have made 3 selections. Now when I come to insert to put a graph, I was asked to put a column graph, which I think is this one. Let me select this one. You see how much my chart looks like. Now you start getting confused of yourself because I made 3 selections. What are you supposed to do? Come to your graph, first select this data here. When you're selecting the next piece of data, please hold the control and don't release. Don't click more than 2 times. Hold this and drag up to where the data we want is. So we shall come and insert a column graph here. So this is already my column graph draw. We are asked to put a chart title. The chart title should be, we click there and remove. It is employees gross pay. Here in the chart, they are in the layout format. In the design, we are supposed to add the chart elements, the axes, where are they, the primary vertical axis and the horizontal vertical axis, the axis titles, the horizontal title. What is this? This was names. What is the vertical title? I think this was salary. Salaries. Now, remember we are told to draw the graph to put it on another sheet. I decided to draw my chart where my work is to avoid confusing data. So after doing my chart there, just cut. I have pressed Ctrl X on my keyboard, come to my sheet here, Ctrl V, and boom, my chart is there. The labels are there and the axes are there. Finally, you are told to print your work. When I print this file with a Ctrl P, this is my chart. The chart will come on an independent page when I go to preview. Now, when I come to this one and I print, my work is in portrait orientation. That is why it is giving me 3 pages here. You see the number of pages I have. All my work is going to go on 3 pages. So what we do, come back here in the page layout, come to orientation, select landscape. Let us see now. Will it fit on 1 page? It is still coming and telling me 2 pages. If it is too big, there is a trick here in the scaling here. You can tell it if you have put your work on landscape, it is still not fitting. You say you have no cells to resize. Come here and tell it to fit all columns on 1 page. It will condense everything for you on that 1 page and you print it. Remember, last week we said, please press the Ctrl tilde, that button below the escape key, such that you have these formulas. Feel free to also print these formulas and submit them along with your work. Anything that may happen to your CD as you transport it, you are safe. The examiner can see the formula because the examiners will always mark a formula, not the output in your Excel, because we saw last week that there are some very wise candidates in us who are very good and they'll always use calculators and they are very fast, they put the correct values. Dear colleagues, unless there are some questions regarding this, I want to see these questions in the chat here if they are there. If not, we continue and look at our database. When I look at the time, we are supposed to end at 5:30, but our time is running very fast. I want to ask you that in the chat, please let me know of what we are supposed to do, because I'm going to be very fast again in the database. If there is anything in Excel that we have not touched, please let us know from the chat. Now I want to switch to the other question in this. We are supposed to have, we have a database there. The database that we have is having one table. It is a flat database. If and function. I don't know what you mean with the other function of the if and. Let's first do this. I want to support to believe you wanted to add the other function of and, maybe. Mugarura Breakins. Please be specific. Try to be clear in your question there in the chat so that we can see. The database that we have here, allow me, we are going to be faster in the database again. I have saved these files here. What are we supposed to have in the database? You're supposed to know how to create and save a database. You're supposed to know how to create and save a table in design view. In a database, you're supposed to know how to set a primary key, because you know that a primary key is something very important that will help us to identify a record by a certain field. Then assign appropriate data types. I avoided the word correct because one field may have more than 2 data types which are appropriate. Then creating relationships between tables, creating, saving, and modifying a data table. You're supposed to know how to enter and save data in a database, how to create Oh, sorry, I've just had a simple glitch in the power. Just a simple glitch in power. I think I'm back. Someone said that you can hear me very well. Difference between if logic function. Let me share my screen again. Okay, I'm sorry, I had a simple disruption here in my electricity, but I am back here. I was saying that we have a number of criteria. Some questions come and they'll be asking us for various criteria to give. These are just the principles that we need to follow. Questions that will ask you for a query that begins with, maybe before we go to queries, let's first see the database. This database, we designed, we have done something here. Igayosia is here. Allow me, we are going to just go through this. Where you feel we are leaving you very far, kindly let me know. We are going to first talk about the table. Then when we come to the table is already given. I have already designed the table, but you are supposed to come to the design view as you're creating your table. Now, the first thing, as we saw there, we are supposed to know how to create a table. That's one. This is our table. How do you determine the data type to use? Look at the data that you have in your question paper. I want you to agree with me that this first field is fit for text data type. This one is also fit for text. This one is also fit for text. Afterwards, we can use lookup wizard. Remember that lookup wizard will only work when we have set the data type to text. Then this one, I think you'll agree with me that it is yes or no. This one is fit for text. This one is fit for text and auto number. I think we are going to create something to show how can we create something with auto number data type and we customize it. Then the department is also fit for text. Now this one is fit for either currency or number. This one is date stroke time. This one is text. I think we can all agree with that. So when we come our data, here we give text, we give short text. Now, some of the computers, those who have Office 2010, when you come to the data types here, you are going to see text and memo. Where we have short text in these newer versions is where you'll have text in Office 2010 and lower versions. Where you have long text is the same as the memo. Some others will have memo there. So surname is given, text also, sex is text. We gave it a lookup wizard. Now I want to go through the lookup wizard again briefly. After giving it text, you'll come to lookup wizard. You say, I'll type the values that I want and next. So here we shall put M for male and F. If the question paper gave you male written in full, please write male. If it gave you F and M like this one is, please write F and M. Then we shall finish. You realize the data type will keep here as text. Now resident is yes or no, title is text, ID number we give text. These others are all text, currency here. Now the currency is supposed to have a UGX symbol as we see it here. Last time we learned that we can customize this symbol. After setting it to currency, even if it's number, we can customize by putting quotes. First put open quotes. I would type this somewhere here. Open, we said we open quotes and put UGX, close the quotes, put a space, then you put a hash, you comma, then 3 hashes to represent the 1000 separate. If you don't put this, the figure will be given as a solid figure to you. Let's get back here. So this is what we have there. The date and time, we have date. Now, we formatted this here because when you look at what we have in our question paper here, it is June, August, December, June, July. If we kept our date stroke time format here, as it was given, as it is the default as general, and we save, then we come here. When you look at the date in your data, it will look like this. But the examiner would prefer to have the data or the date look like it was in the question paper. That is why we came here in our database, in the design view of our table, we put DD following the separator, MMM, we put MM, you put triple M for a medium month, and we put 4Y for a full year and 2Y for half a year. So we save the changes and we shall find our date to appear like that. You please let me know of the challenges in data types before it goes too late. I am going to the form now. We are told to create a form called employee entry form. Use it to enter the above records. We are using it to enter the records. We are told to create a form, yes, and give a logo, that one from the support files as the logo. Create a new field in the form. Our form is here. It looks like this. We are told to change some colors there. In the design view of our form, I want to think that we know how to create a form. Maybe briefly to some colleagues who may not know, I created it from design. I'm creating another one briefly. You come here and select add existing fields. From the property sheet, you may activate the property sheet and look for the record source. Where is the source? This is going to a query. Come and click this. We want a table. The table is called employee. I made an error here again. The question told us to call it employee table. I intended to write employee to be specific that the table was asking us to be named employee table. So after that, we shall close after telling it that we want it from. Come to design, add existing fields. So our table, sometimes it will come like this and it will be hidden, so expand. To put those fields, we shall just double click. What you double click automatically goes to the form. So everything is there and our form is almost done. We are told to put a title. So the title is here. When you come, you put it there. You are told to put a logo. It will give you a dialog box and you use it to locate the support files and look for a photo, which we are told it is called LPT. Locate it and put it there. You are told to put a footer. The footer area will be down here. So you put the footer as well. The other time we said that to put a footer, you would expand this a little. To put a footer, come up here in the commands, pick a label, get this plus here, put your name. We use the candidate called Iga Joshua. 525. So that is our footer in the form. This also applies to the report. And our form is done. Now we are asked to add some fields in the form. Add buttons to the form that can add a record. We are going to add them. A field that can calculate the employee's age. The formulas that we use in the queries and the form are the same, but the difference is how do we put these new fields? The formulas I'm talking about are those fields which are not called, which were not given in the table. So we're going to get a text box here, put it here, and move it a little. So we are going to name this text 13, remove it and say, this is the age. Now, in a form and a report, we shall first put equal signs. We want to calculate the age. The age, we shall use a formula which says, yeah, we put a function called now and close it, minus, yeah, we shall put a field. The field name is put in those square brackets, yeah, with this real field name. So we shall put date of birth. If you wrote a wrong spelling in the table, please maintain the wrong spelling. Don't be a good wiseacre there. Then let's first have a look at this is the calculated age of our employees. We were told to put these fields here, these buttons here for navigating through our form. Where do we get them? They are still here. I'll show you only one here. This, you click that command button, click there. It will ask you, what do you want to do? Is it for record navigation, record operations? Now I want to go for record navigation to find a record. Then I'll select find a record. All these ones have different operations. I am going for the record navigation to find the record. And next, I want to use a text. Someone may opt to use a picture, but I want to use text. Next and finish. So it will be there. When we come to the form, the button is there. You, as someone designing something to be presented to someone, please make sure that you have some art there. However much it is not called for here as an exam, but try to be someone with some art as you're designing these things. Then change the font style of the title, in the background color of the form. Here, how do we change the font? We still do all this from the design view. In the design view here, we shall activate the property sheet now. We are told the form, please come and click the form, either from the form or you come home. Highlight these letters, just select them. We know how to highlight in Microsoft Word. Come here, the fonts are there. Give it a font, give it a size, according to your choice. We are told to give it a color here. Come in the property sheet. You activate the property sheet from the design tab and look for the back color. After clicking here, look for the back color. Click there, the colors are there. You can click and change the color accordingly. Then add buttons, create another field in the form to calculate employees' salary. That salary, just like we added, just as we added the other one, the field for age is the way we add the field for salary. And the formula we put is this one. Because we are told that the salary is increasing by, this is the formula that we are putting. The salary is increasing by 8%. So this is the 8%. Commonly, database refers to have these figures changed into decimal. So we are having this turned from 8% to 0.08 plus the original salary. This is the increment and this is the original salary. So we'll put that formula there, and after putting it, this is what we put in a text box. After that, This will be our new salary. You realize this is the original salary. And the question here, we'll go to the queries. The queries, I think I demonstrated some things there. I want to ask with the queries, not being too fast. In case of a query, I want to assume that all of us had a chance of going through them. Just be generous and we put this in the chat here. Which query of them is hard for us? Because I see time is running. We're already 16 minutes past the time that you are supposed to do. My contact, I'm going to share the contacts as we wind up this. Then, members, if there is no challenge in the query, that any of the queries there, allow me cross to the report. I had shared the query criteria, the criteria for those queries, they are here. I think I'm going to share this presentation with you. I'm going to put it in the chat just shortly after here. Let's go to the report. Using a report, create a report using the employee table and group the records by dependent, department and name. Commonly, the report will tell you where to get it from. Where are you getting the report from? We said after working on this, you close these objects. Close this as well. So we want a report from the table. I want to give this one very simple. When you click the table, whether query or table, come to create, select a report here. The report is going to come immediately. Now your role is to come and resize this. You may come to the design view and do some modifications there. Hold this field here and reduce it to make sure that your report fits on the page. Come, reduce. ID number. So if you have to put a footer here, please come in the design view here, look for a label, come here, put a footer of your name. Iga Joshua. With issues of the footer, I want to encourage you, dear candidates, that whether asked for or not, please put them for proper identification. So this is our report. However, I have not resized it very well. Make sure that you resize it very, very well. We were asked to create another query here that shows employees in new salaries. Remember, we were asked to create a query that calculates new salaries, and I think we have it here. This is the one that shows the new salaries. So to avoid going through a very strong hassle, it would be very good for you just to click the query here, come to create, and then report. Go through the same process, come to design view, come and just do the resizing because this report is going to come in a tabular view. Do the resizing where they ask for a title, they ask for a logo, they ask for date, they ask for a footer. You please add and put all these items. Dear colleagues, we were asked to create a report that groups the items. The grouping is here. So you click here and the groups are here, add the group. Where do you add which group? We're asked to group them by department. But I think it was the other table, the other report, not this one. It was this report of the employees. Come to the design view, select group. Which group? The group by department. And for us, we are done now. Save, and let's go to the report view. Realize that the workers are just alone there. Sorry, the department of IT is alone. The kitchen is there, followed by kitchen, then management comes along, and research follows. Dear colleagues, I want to end this at that and welcome a few questions. I know I have rushed through some items with the assumption that we have some knowledge on what we are talking about. So I want to call upon you to give some few questions. I saw one about a spreadsheet. Someone said that maybe he wanted to know the difference of the if and the logical function. If is a logical function. Logical functions are those that are going to help us get values based on certain conditions. If and VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are the examples of the logical functions that we have. There are also others, but those are the common ones that we normally use and run at this level. I want to entertain some questions. Please, if you have, I wish to see you by raising the hand. I wish to see you by the comment here in just like 3 minutes. Then I can hand over back to Mr. Kaziba and we'll call it a day today. We may need another session to handle access. Oh, that is giving me an indication that I have rushed. Truly, I think I have moved far, very fast. But the issue is about time. We shall talk again, we shall share again with Mr. Kaziba and the other team members. And we shall see what to do again. My contact, many people are asking for the contact. The contact, I'll just share this slide again. That is my contact. Share the slides on the platform. I'm going to share. We need another session. Another session, we shall share the session details with Mr. Kaziba and the other team in the arrangement. Mr. Kaziba, meanwhile, I want to get back to you because it seems the questions are over here. I want to hand over back to you, Mr. Kaziba.
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Simon, for the wonderful presentation you have given us this evening. We are really very grateful. Thank you so much for taking us through. We would like to thank all the schools that have been online and all those schools and all the teachers that have been able to connect their students online. ICT is one of the key subjects, is one of the things that we want these students to learn. This is a skill that will help you as well when you go back in the holiday. Dear students, what you are doing now is going to be very applicable. It is very applicable. It can be a source of income when you go back for your holiday, when you are in your vacation. Is one of the practical subjects. So kindly take on these practical skills, learn them, master them, such that you can be of use when you are in holiday, such that you can be able to apply this knowledge in your small business that you may start in vacation, in your small thing that you are doing at home, even now. So we want you to utilize the time you still have in school such that you can be able to master the skill very well. Remember that the time you have in school is limited compared to the time you have after your studies. So let us utilize the resources that we have at school to master, and let us now mark that ICT practicals, that one is assured, that for that one I have passed, such that now the time we have is just for practicing and perfecting. We want to thank so much all the teachers that have put in a lot of efforts, all the head teachers. This is our last session for now, but we shall still have more sessions to come in the future. I want to thank Mr. Angela for being online. He's one of our facilitators. I want to thank all other teachers. We are really very grateful. Movidu Joshua, thank you so much for connecting. Teacher David, Cleo, and everyone. It has really been very good to have you online, and we want to thank you so much. We shall continue with such sessions once students are through with their mock examinations, such that at least we keep on the fire burning. We want to thank Teacher Simon once again. Thank you so much. And we want to thank all our partners, the RENU, UICT, and the Ministry of Education for launching this discussion. With that, I want to say that we are going to end here for now. We shall share more going forward. Thank you so much, everyone. And I want to wish you a nice evening. Unless Mr. Simon, you have something you want to say.
Just want also to add on your voice to thank all the colleagues in the profession for allowing time this evening, and also for all the schools that have come online to learn. It's a challenging time that mocks are running in some schools, and we are also running such sessions. Thank you for joining and being part of this. I want to wish everyone a very good and big success in all the work that we are doing.
Yes, Simon, I think we cannot go without answering this. I'm saying Mary Assumpta asking you to elaborate more on the criteria. Maybe it can be the last thing and we close, if possible.
Or to elaborate more on the criteria, maybe what we call the criteria. For example, we were asked by, there is a question here. Let me just get one query here. There was a question that asked us to create a query that returns employees from the Department of IT or Kitchen. Department of IT or Kitchen. So we come to create, and we create a query from design. So this is our table. We add the table. Now we hold our fields here because this one is not specific on which field. We just drag all of them and drop here. They align themselves there. Now, based on the question, it is asking us to get employees from either IT or Kitchen department. Now your role is to look for which field the field is department, according to our table here. The field is department. This is where we have, allow me, oh, sorry. I didn't know that I was not sharing my screen. Let me share my screen, Mr. Kaziba, just 1 minute to demonstrate this. Sorry, we are saying that we have this query. We put all these fields here. Now I'm saying that the field which is in question, always identify in your query, which field are they asking me to go to apply the criteria. The field now is department. So what else, what do they want in that field of department? Either Kitchen or IT. So I'll come to my query in design view here, in a department here, and I put one of the things that is here. So now I'll put IT. It is either I can put IT or Kitchen. Or I can even say IT look at this, there is a criteria, or I may even decide to say, or kitchen. And after that, in the design view of this, you come and run. So when we run, the query should be in position of giving us only those people there. I think I have answered her, Mr. Kazim.
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Simon. Someone is asking for the registration link. Mary Assumpta, let me hope it is clear. Hope it is clear. Okay, I think we shall end here for today. Let's meet tomorrow for applied mathematics. It will be still at the same time at 4:30. And then it will be our last session up to I think it will be around August, the end of August, when you are done with your mocks. That's when we shall meet again. Thank you so much and have a good evening, everyone.